Hey everybody, this is Brian. Alarms are blaring and it's time for the show apparently. All right, well I hope you're in good spirits and I hope everyone's well out in the outer world. And welcome to Chiller Night Live where Stephanie says, hey y'all. Hey Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Where we will be talking from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until 9 p.m. about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal. You pick the topic. We'll make a show out of it. So, Tom says, yippee ki yeah! Yeah. Hey, Tom, thanks for joining us. D says, good evening. Good evening, D. Thanks for joining us. So, today, May 28th, a very special day. Renee says, happy Terror Taco Burger Tuesday. Today's my first day back at cat volunteering. Very emotional. Have to take Cats 102 again and also take grieving sessions counselor for distraught owners who lost their pets. Oh, wow, that's cool. I didn't even know that something like that was out there for pet owners who've lost their pets and need counseling. Wow. Well, good luck to you in your sessions there. I hope those go well and that you can help others. I know you just recently had your cat pass away, so I hope you help yourself and others. So I think that's best though when the counselors actually have gone through the situation themselves, and you can share that along. Patty says, shh, hiding at work. All right, Patty, we'll keep that in the lowdown. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, a very special day. But bam! Happy birthday to my beautiful bride, Ava. It's Ava's birthday today, so happy birthday, baby. I hope you are having a wonderful day. And Al says, hey everyone, it's Chiller Night. Hey Al, thanks for joining us. We had we usually combine like Memorial Day activities with Ava's birthday. So we had a huge get together with her family on Memorial Day, and it was just a really good day, or Sunday. And then we went out yesterday, she and I, and put some flowers on graves, and it was a good day. So, and I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend as well. So, but yes, happy birthday to my baby Ava. And Renee says, unfortunately, I couldn't get my cat ashes back. They required a deposit, and I didn't have it. But I had the full money last week, and unfortunately, they had already spread the ashes with the other deceased cats and dogs. Have an awesome live horror show. Too distraught and depressed to talk. Right now, crying profusely, uncontrollably. See ya. Oh no, Renee. Well, I am so sorry that happened to you. And wow. I wish they would have kept them until you got it. Oh, that's too bad. That's just too bad. Ava says, thank you, sweetie. Hi, everyone. You are very welcome. And I hope you are continuing to have a wonderful birthday. Patty says, happy birthday, Ava, as well as Stephanie and Al and Patty. So everyone's saying happy birthday to Ava. John Wayne says, hello, everyone. Hey, SBC, how are you? Something's going on. Everyone's sounding the alarm. It's Ava's birthday. All right. Hope everything's going okay out there. Dogs and cats, Renee says. Later. Okay. Well, I wish you well there, Renee, and hope things get better for you. And I'm sorry to hear about that with your cat and its ashes. That's frustrating to hear that they didn't just wait another week. Ava says, I'm so sorry to Renee. Yes, Stephanie says as well. So everyone's giving their virtual hugs to Renee, and that's we'll keep you in our thoughts there, Renee. Dee says, happy birthday. And Ava says, tell them all thank you. Ava is on Facebook on here. And the majority of the viewers, at least while this is live, are on YouTube. So that's why you can't see Ava's comments. And if you're new here, if you're watching, and if you are on YouTube, you can't see the Facebook comments, and vice versa. Facebook comments can't see YouTube comments. So I can see both of you. So watch what you write. No. But yes, I can see, I see all. But it's kind of a neat little setup here. We multi-stream onto YouTube and Facebook for, like I said, if you're new here. Alice is so sorry, Renee. Well, yeah, that's too bad. Well, maybe that'll be something she can also obviously benefit from is this grieving session for the pet owners, grieving session. So hopefully that goes well for her. Now, speaking of Ava's birthday, other birthdays were just recently as well. Now, John Rozak the Grand had noted or sent this to me earlier this week. So, sometimes the best things come in threes. Let's see. This picture is from the Peter Cushing Appreciation Society.com. It says, happy birthday, Christopher Lee, May 27th. Peter Cushing, May 26th. And Vincent Price, May 27th. That's pretty cool. May 26th, 27th, or two of them on the 27th. So, and then Ava is on the 28th. Pretty cool. All right, so that was pretty neat. And speaking of John, it's time again for our hour of horror talk. It's time again for Chiller Night. This is Crozak the Grand, and now here he is, the all-knowing, all-seeing, our host, Bryan Hogue. Thank you, Crozak the Grand. Yes, indeed. Well, John, I was just putting up the Crozak, the picture there of the birthday icons, other than Ava. Now, you just chimed in here. Now, I got to tell you, today's Ava's birthday, but it's kind of cool that John had just sent me this a few days ago about Peter Cushing is May 26th, Christopher Lee and Vincent Price are both on the 27th of May. So that's pretty neat. Pretty neat. What a festive time of the month this is. So, very, very cool. Hey, and I have had some really good news this week with the Chiller Night Escape Experience store I have at the Cranberry Mall. Of course, I've had Zombie Outbreak up and running, and folks going through, but now inspections are getting out of the way here for the witching hour. So I believe I'm going to, now this is tentative, I'll make an official announcement here, but I'm thinking probably June 14th is when I'll open that up. That's on a Friday night, so I'll run that through the weekend. It's too bad. Too bad that wouldn't have been a Friday the 13th, but I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to wait, by golly. We're going to open it up next month, so that's coming up. And then, before you know it, then in June, speaking of June, that's when I start working on the modifications for Jack Shadow's House of Terror. And, I don't know. Looking forward to that. I'll show you a couple pictures of the old store. That's the entrance of Jack Shadow's House of Terror. You can see it there with the red ambient glow there coming from inside. Somewhat foreboding looking. And there's another angle of the store there. Front of it. So, all right, it is coming that time. So, cool. Last week was pretty fun. We talked about a lot of interesting things. Now, in the meantime, from last week until this week, has anybody seen any good movies out there over the week? Some of the things that were brought up was um, what the heck was brought up? It was on the tip of my tongue, and I just forgot it. Oh, the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. My brother Troy had seen that, and some of you, we were commenting about different movies, and that was one of the movies we were talking about. So I was just curious if anybody had seen that one as well. Brian says, hello, everyone. Hey, Brian, thanks for joining us. Tom says, next Friday the 13th is in September. Ah, we're not waiting that long. So, yeah. September. Okay, all right. Too bad it wouldn't have been in like October. Come on, calendar. Throw me a bone here. Help me out. As a haunt owner. John Wayne says, you never guess what happened to me today. I was taking a nap outside. Outside? Because it was already so warm. Okay, all right. And I was woken up by a light. By the light of a flashlight. 10 police officers who thought I was a burglar. Oh no. Well, Tom says, where do you live? So, wow. Well, I bet that would be kind of alarming. I hope you explained yourself very quickly and clearly to the officers, and they departed without incident. Not every day you get a little story like that. I had in the vein of the whole chiller thing, I will say that this kind of turns out to be an amusing story. But I was on the night shift, and speaking of police, get a call for an unwanted actor at a residence. Okay, so we had a couple cars on that night. We do the standard entry approach to the house. Now the woman had come out onto the front porch and said, "He's inside. He's inside." Okay, is there anyone else in there other than the intruder? No. Okay. So we go in there and announce ourselves, and we don't see anybody. Now we're searching this place, doing a perimeter search, and then we're doing a more, breakdown search, more precise search and everything. We're like, ma'am, where is he? What's he look like? What's can you give us a little bit more information? He's all black, So okay, he probably has a hoodie on or something, We're just like, okay, but we've already looked, the area over pretty well. And I go into the bedroom, which I've been in already. Like I said, we're pretty efficient. We've done this many times. Go into the bedroom, and she screams, "There he is!" And she's pointing upward toward the corner, toward the ceiling, where the ceiling's meeting the wall, and there's a bat up there in the corner. And I said, "Ma'am, is this who you're talking about?" She says, "Yes." And she's hysterical. I mean, she's absolutely hysterical. And through her hysterics, that somehow got translated into an unwanted intruder, in her house. So as soon as that happened, the other officers just turned around and started walking out, and I said, "Okay, I'll get the bat out of the house." So, I just thought that was an amusing story. Like I said, in the vein of Chiller, it was a bat. So, kind of funny. But anyways, Al says, I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on Monday. Great movie. Okay, Al saw it. He liked it. Now, Al, I know you and I are in the same age bracket, so I take it you certainly have had to see the original, and if so, so you. I don't know how much of a truist you are with the Planet of the Apes, the original movies, but uh, comparing, it was pretty good then, huh? I'm guessing that it holds up pretty well. I take it if you're saying it's a great movie. Bonehead says, "Hey, hello, Chiller Night crew and Brian. Hey, Bonehead, thanks for joining us." John said, "This weekend, Daikaji TV continued its salute to Roger Corman." Ah, cool. We talked about Roger. Yeah, that was last week. Yeah, when he gets movies made when he was in charge of the New World Cinema. The movie shown was included Forbidden World, Rock and Roll High School, Galaxy of Terror, and my favorite, Battle Beyond the Stars. I remember that one well. Yeah. John Wayne says, next Friday, the 13th, is my birthday. Ah, awesome. Okay, so we've got a birthday coming up in September. All right, for SBC. But it says, well, SBC, those cops probably seen your John Wayne media icon was going to arrest you trying to steal John Wayne's identity, LOL. Yes, identity theft. Stephanie says, today I watched a movie called The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb on Turner Classic Movies. Now I'm watching Jason and the Argonauts. Ah, sounds like you're having a very good chiller day. Stephanie says, I can't blame the woman. My mom found a snake in the toilet when she and my dad first moved from apartment to house. Oh, man, that would be creepy, huh? Bonin says, I hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend, and I pass along best wishes from Miss Glam Fangs. She said to tell the Chiller Night crew and Brian a big hello. Oh, that's very cool. Will you tell her a big hello right back at her? And we appreciate that. John Wayne says, we know that he heard you coming and quickly transformed. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's probably what happened. Maybe I should start telling it that way just to make it a little bit more interesting. Yes, the vampiric intruder. A puff of smoke. Now he's up in the corner of the room. Yeah. All right, I got to tell that story differently from now on. I like that. All right, so Al says that he saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on Monday. Great movie. My brother liked it, and I know my brother's just 2 years older than me, so I'm curious to hear from people who are, like I say, kind of like in my age range or older. What they think of that movie, because like the other Planet of the Apes movies I've seen so far, and it's I'm just wondering if it's because I'm so attached to those original movies that I can't move beyond that. I saw them. I thought they were, that was about it. So. But this one, I am hearing good things about it from people in my age range. So I am kind of excited about this. Let's see. Bonus says, will do, Brian. We had a quiet, relaxing weekend, reminiscing and remembering all those we lost. Yes. Well, I hope everyone had a nice reflective Memorial Day, remembering all those that we have lost. Obviously, our military members who gave the ultimate sacrifice so that we could have our freedoms that we have today. John Wayne says, well, Bonehead, it's also possible that they thought I was a homeless person. It seems like you can't sleep outside anymore these days. Ah, the nerve of them. Really? Jason says, Ghoul evening, Jason. Thanks for joining us. Joe Expo says, I agree. Hey, Joe Expo, thanks for joining us. I'm the same with the Star Wars saga. I can only get into the first three. As I was saying that, I was actually thinking of Star Wars, and I was thinking, am I being too critical of any of the other movies? I did like Rogue One, by the way. I really enjoyed that one. I thought that was a really good movie. But with the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy, and then I remember The Last Jedi, I think, nah, it deserves all the crap and garbage that it. Yeah. I'm probably in a minority here on the opinion of Solo. I didn't mind that one. I thought that one was a fun enough movie to watch. I didn't think it was great, but I was sitting there. I was entertained by it, and I didn't hate it. So I was there like, okay, I'm having enough fun with this movie that I can sit back and say, all right, I'm not going to throw hate at it. I didn't see it. I did not. It was the first Star Wars movie I didn't go to the theater to see because of The Last Jedi. Kind of my and many fans protesting. We're not going to give you our money when you're giving us garbage like The Last Jedi. But I waited for it to come around on I don't know, whatever streaming channel had it on, and I checked it out. Jason says, Brian, you should do a John Wayne impersonation whenever you read John Wayne's post. All right, I will. All right, where is well, all right. Well, the next one will be now. Watch him write some John Wayne dialogue. Okay, Al says. Oh, Stephanie says I had a relaxing weekend and watched some monster movies. Nice. Al says the 1968 Apes classic is and always will be the best, but the new one was very well done and entertaining. That's awesome. I love hearing that. John says, hey, John, thanks for joining us. Bonehead says, SBC, if you lived here in Texas and they let the homeless sleep on the ground, although they don't like that. We've had a few homeless tent cities down here. Tent cities. Stephanie says, I like your t-shirt, Brian. By the way, where is the Midwest Haunters Convention? Well, thank you, Stephanie. The Midwest Haunters Convention now is in, it's close to Chicago, Illinois, is where they have it now. I haven't gone to them since they moved it, but at this time it was in Columbus, Ohio. Every June, it was in Columbus, Ohio. So I do miss going to it, but that was close enough to where it was still a nice little road trip, and spend a couple days there at the Columbus Center at the trade show, which is what the Midwest Haunters Convention was. You saw really, really cool stuff for haunt owners. That's what it was for, haunt owners to come in and take a look, see what they had, and make some pretty good purchases there. And they had a big, Halloween party for us, or and they had they'd bus us to, they'd open up haunted houses in the area just for us, and they would bus us to these haunts, and so that was really cool. So I mean, like the haunted hoochie and stuff like that, they'd open it up to the public as well. I mean, I can only imagine that. I mean, the whole parking lot was just filled, thousands of people in June. So Tom says, my thoughts exactly. Al, Rod Serling wrote the screenplay, Rom Bully's original novel. I don't know if I said that right. Hard to compete with that. Right. And you could see that, that Twilight Zone type of. No, I don't know. I didn't read the novel. I know Patty had asked me that after the show last week, and messaged me that, and I was kind of curious about that. And I got to thinking, like, I loved Planet of the Apes, but at that time I was a kid. I loved the movies, and but I didn't ever read any books or anything like that of it. And I certainly didn't read the original novel that it was based on. I don't know, was it called Planet of the Apes? Well, I don't even know what it would have been called, but and I don't know if the ending was the same as the TV or the movie ending. But I actually thought this when watching this back in the probably the mid '90s. I was watching it. I got it again on VHS. So I had the collector, you know, all 5 of the original movies. So I was watching those. I was watching the original one, and that ending reminded me so much of like a Twilight Zone ending. You know, with the twist. You know, and I thought, man, that just seems like a Twilight Zone. And so I'm watching through the credits. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have Google. I didn't have the internet. But I was watching through the credits, and I saw Rod Serling's name in the credits, and I thought, oh, that makes sense. Now I wonder if that's how the novel ended. I don't know. Did anybody here read the actual original novel? Because I didn't, so I don't know. John Wayne says, the original is unbeatable, but I have only seen the first remake from the 2000s. Oh, yeah. Yep. Bonus says, I agree with you, Brian. We're veterans, so we always remember our fallen buddies are the real heroes. Absolutely. Absolutely, Bonehead. Patsy Van 1. Patty says, I saw Star Wars A New Hope when it first came out in theaters, before the lines, before the dark times, before The Last Jedi. No, yeah, back when it was Star Wars. Back when it was Star Wars. That was the only thing it was Star Wars. It wasn't A New Hope at that time. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't, Han Solo was the only one between he and Greedo who shot. You know, there was none of this Greedo shot first. There wasn't even a question whether Han Solo shot first. There was no first. There was just one shot. So, yes. Oh, the good old days. Like I said, you know, are we being too critical? I don't know. That's just what we do, maybe, sometimes as devoted viewers. Jason says, 1968 Planet of the Apes was the best. Seeing the apes on horseback for the first time, hearing them speak, and of course the ending, all amazing. Seeing for the first time, I know, I love that. And I had, man, when I was little, I loved the movies. That was a big thrill to see that come on TV. You couldn't, I mean, we didn't have, you know, my mind went blank. The VHSs back then, tape recorders and all that. But I had all the toys when I was little. The lunchbox, the bubblegum cards, you know, my mom used to get for me. Let's see. John Wayne says, good to know, Bonehead. When I go on a holiday in Texas, I'll bring my tent. That will definitely save my fortune. Patty says, my Memorial Day movie I watched every year is the original Dirty Dozen. Ah, okay, very cool, nice. Love that movie. But it says, Miss Stephanie Press, I admire you. You're well-mannered and ladylike, even when cussing out auto spell. well done, ma'am. Let's see. John Wayne says, I just hope the body cam footage will never be leaked on the internet. Oh, well, I mean, if there was 10 officers, one's bound to. It was Planet of the Apes, but it was in French, Tom says, about the book, the novel. Okay, very cool, okay. Memorial Day movies for me are Sands of Iwo Jima, The Quiet Man, yes. John Wayne, the movie Star, not SBC, LOL, yes. Sands of Iwo Jima. Such a great movie. Jason says, Pierre Boulez, I don't know if I'm saying that right. The novel ends with the narrator as a chimp. 2 chimps in space on a space yacht. The ending was shocking because you were led to believe the narrator was human. Really? Huh. Isn't that interesting? I mean, because the apes, and I don't know, I'm sure maybe this is explained somewhere in the novel, or maybe it's not. You're just left to fill in the blanks yourself. But the technology of the apes at that time was not that advanced. At least in the area that we saw, they didn't have, you know, they were riding horseback. And they didn't have any planes or jeeps or anything like that. Now the animated cartoon that was on Saturday, I think it was Saturday mornings, they did have that stuff. They did have like little propeller airplanes and vehicles. The novel was nothing like the movie, Al says. Jason says the movie ending was better than the novel, which is not the unusual. Patty says, sorry, not different. Not didn't, different. Oh, not didn't, different. Jason said Pierre Boulez was the author to the novel Planet of the Apes. Cool. John Wayne says, there is no Memorial Day here in Germany, but I think it's a nice idea to have such a day. Yes. Stephanie says, my dad was a mechanic in the Air Force. Oh, very cool. Patty says, Pierre Boulez also wrote The Bridge on the River Kwai. Oh, that's right. You did mention that to me, yeah. I don't know how far back I am. I think I'm okay. I'm maybe a couple minutes behind. Patty says, or Bonehead says, Patty, it was a didn't ending. It didn't end the way they thought it would, LOL. Al says, yes, when Star Wars was just Star Wars, 1977. Tom says, you ever see the screen test of Planet of the Apes with Edward G. Robinson? They hadn't perfected the makeup yet. I did. They had some of that stuff. Even on the VHS, they had a lot of that stuff like as an extra. You know, remember that when they would do that stuff, they would put it, I think it was, I'm trying to remember, I haven't seen it since the 90s. I think it might have been at the end of the movie. But I do remember seeing that stuff. Al says, yes, Tom, I've seen the test footage for the makeup for Planet of the Apes. Tom says, he was the original Dr. Zaius, but died before production started. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't remember that. I don't know if I knew it to begin with, but let's see. Bonus says, Miss Stephanie Press, Brian was in the Air Force. He's got that in common with your dad. I was USN, the Navy, and USMC, the Marine Corps. I was a glutton for punishment, LOL. Very cool. Very cool. Bonnet says, Miss Stephanie, I did Navy first, then I joined the Corps. Now, my younger brother, Bob, he was in the Army and the Navy. And then my older brother, Troy, was on here last week. He spent his career, his 20, I think it was like 24 years, 26 years in the Air Force. John Wayne says, Planet of the Apes, these are the films that blow you away when you see them for the first time. I still remember when I saw Star Wars for the first time. I miss this overwhelming film experience. Yeah, there's only like, you know what movie probably came the closest in my adult life was Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park. That's why all the others that came after that, I didn't, I don't know. I'm sure they were, entertaining. They were entertaining. But that first Jurassic Park, to me, it was just incredible seeing that. Like I had an idea, like in my head I knew, but as I'm watching these dinosaurs moving around, it was just amazing. It was just incredible to me. So that's kind of cool. Oh, Patty says bull. It's pronounced bull. Because I was pronouncing it Boulez, I think. There is a making of documentary for apes. Oh, that, yeah, the making of documentary for the apes. Yeah, maybe that's where I saw it. I don't remember where I saw that. I thought I was on one of those videos, though, that I had. VHS. They had extra content on VHS. They did. I've had some where they did, and I don't remember exactly if that's where I saw this content. But every once in a while, you would have some extra content on there. Bonehead says, Tom, can you imagine Edward G. Robinson in that? Actually, I can, Tom says. Jason says behind the Planet of the Apes is an incredible documentary hosted by Roddy McDowell. Strong recommended. Covers all 5 movies and a lot about the production on the first with the makeup test. See, then I definitely saw that. And maybe that's where I saw the test footage from this documentary. Tom says, especially since I saw that reel. Oh, with Edward G. Robinson. Can you imagine him as Dr. Zayas? John Wayne says, yes, that came after the credits, sometime before the film which was quite annoying. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, a lot of times they would have some stuff that would just take up so much time. And you know, sometimes you didn't even have the option to, remember this, some of those were annoying because you didn't have the option to always fast forward through the trailer, you know, and I don't remember a specific one. It's been years and years and years ago, but I just remember that being something that I wasn't too particularly fond of, having to sit through and watching stuff I didn't like. Tom says, you see, that's why remakes and reboots so rarely work. You can't really relive that first immersive experience. That is correct. That is absolutely correct. I think what really did it with Star Wars though was there was a feel like, not only were you wowed at the time with the effects, like I'm sure like the first viewers to watch the original King Kong, you know, or maybe those who, you know, seeing Frankenstein for the first time, that, you know, that Jack Pierce makeup, you know, but mostly with the effects. So I'll say, like, can you imagine going and watching like the Wizard of Oz, in 1939 Wizard of Oz, and Keller, and seeing, you know, the larger than life characters and the sets and all that, or King Kong, and then you see, or Star Wars, okay. Another one is Superman, the original Superman movie with Christopher Reeve. That was, not only was I a big Superman fan, but just that seemed larger than life to me at the time, you know. But yeah, you can't. I guess you just can't really get that back, you know, when they continue or reboot something, you know. I don't know. I guess I guess the best you can hope is to just have fun with it, you know. But when I was watching the Star Wars, the original trilogy, it seemed like we were watching the telling of a mythology. We were actually watching a mythology in another galaxy, perhaps, but it was unfolding in front of us. Now, what they've done in the meantime with the prequels and everything, that gave it more of the early serials, Flash Gordon type of feel. But the first 3 movies gave you more of a mythology, that hero's journey. You know, that's why that in and of itself, that trilogy was kind of, you know, held in some degree of reverence, you know, to the movie fans and viewers, and then when the other stuff comes out, it's like, okay, you know, now we're just, you know, now it's just an ordinary science fiction story again. But I don't know. I mean, you know, they did the same thing with the Planet of the Apes series. They had a series. Do you guys remember that? I do. I remember watching that thing every week. But it says, Jens might laugh, but I always liked Basil Rathbone, and I always try to imagine him as Sherlock Holmes battling the Universal monsters. He was in Son of Frankenstein, I believe. Yes, he was. Yep. He played the descendant of Dr. Frankenstein. He carried on. He was also Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah, he was good. I did like Basil Rathbone. I really enjoyed him in Son of Frankenstein. He did play Sherlock Holmes um, quite a bit. But my favorite Sherlock Holmes was didn't play him a lot. I mean, I only saw him in the Hound of Baskervilles. Hound of the Baskervilles was Peter Cushing. So Peter Cushing. There he is, a picture of him again in the middle. Um, Jason says, Behind the Planet of the Apes had the text footage and would typically come with the first film. Okay. It's hard for me to remember. I have the videos. I mean, yeah, I do have them, but I haven't watched them for so long. Bonus says, I agree, Tom. In some movies, just shouldn't be remade. They did it great the first time. True, very true. Bonin says, everyone is getting nailed by autospell tonight. I'm glad it's not just me. Misery does love company. Al says, when I first saw Star Wars in '77 at the theater, it blew my mind. Oh, me too. I could not process what I was seeing. I had never, and nobody had seen anything like that before. There had been no effects like that. You know, there had been, science fiction, obviously, but nobody had really made that universe look lived in and battle worn and just real. Like they did with Industrial Light and Magic. The ideas that George Lucas came up with were just incredible. And then the other movies, horrible writing. As far as okay, I believe it was horrible writing. I didn't think it was good storytelling. You tell me who the hero was in the prequel trilogy. Who was it? Who was the main character? Who was the hero? When you pick it apart like you would a classic tale of mythology, but that's not what we got. Now, where was I going with this? I'm trying to save my thought here. What was I? Oh! The retconning of ideas, like R2 meeting up with Ben, and we're like, huh? Who are acting like he doesn't know him? I don't ever remember owning a droid, but you didn't recognize R2D2, who you'd been with on countless adventures before this in the Clone Wars. And there's a lot of stuff in there that didn't make sense, and they trying to fit the square peg in the round hole in trying to explain it later on. I don't know why they did that. John Wayne says, we were also shocked seeing that Darth Vader is Luke's father. Yeah. That was fun when that first came out, The Empire Strikes Back. I don't know Godzilla. I didn't know, Patty says, Godzilla 1.0 was good. Still working on translating the Japanese subtitles on the DVD. D says, Superman was amazing. Christopher Reeve is the one and only Superman, in my opinion. Very cool. But it says, I hope I didn't offend Miss Stephanie Press. I'm sorry I forgot to ask her how her holiday went. Tom says, best remake ever was The Thing. Ah! Yes, remake of The Thing from Another World. Amazing exception to the rule. Yeah, remember that? We had an episode where we talked about, we should do this for next week. We should do this for next week for remakes. Successful, like good remakes. What did we feel were some really good remakes, movie remakes, classics, or not so classics? That would be a fun episode. George Reeves for TV Superman. That was I grew up with George Reeves too, but then I saw Christopher Reeve, and it was just amazing. Tom says, my favorite Holmes was Jeremy Brett. Only one in my mind who was quirky enough to... And we cut off. Jason says Basil Rathbone did a lot of World War II based Sherlock Holmes episodic films. My favorite though is The Hammer, Hound of the Baskervilles. That was my favorite. Brennan says, Tom, I do like to see the different take that remakes have, but some like Rob Zombie's Halloween and Godzilla 1998 just shouldn't have strayed so far from the original and made it something else. Randy says, wrong, Bryan Hogue. There was a first before Star Wars, and it was called Logan's Run. I do remember Logan's Run. I remember that. I don't remember, now maybe it was, but it didn't stand out to me in my memory as far as the grittiness of, when I say it, I mean like the ships were actually dirty, and you could imagine that the exhaust fumes had been, expelled from the motors and all that stuff. Was Logan's Run was the original, because there was a series of Logan's Run. There was a movie of Logan's Run as well, I believe, if I'm remembering that right. But or was it kind of like the Space 1999, all clean? Everything looks so clean. I don't remember. Do you recall that, Renee? What the effects look like? But it says, yes, I like Jeremy Brett as well. Basil at first, then Jeremy. I can't see anyone else doing Holmes justice, no pun intended. John Wayne says, the hero is Jar Jar Binks, right? Oh, well, there, yeah, that did slip my mind, yes. Stephanie says, that's okay, Bones, my holiday was great. Awesome. Jason says, Red Dragon, okay, remake of Manhunter. Okay, yeah. I remember seeing Red Dragon. Call Manhunter, though. John Wayne says, unfortunately, still no remake for Manos in sight. Oh, yeah, where's Paul at tonight? 2 was a typo. Oh, at the end, okay. I thought we were going to see a follow-up. Bonin says, Miss Stephanie, thanks, Miss Stephanie. I'm always afraid to text you on here because I feel like I'm going to offend you or say something stupid or make you mad. What? Patty says, Logan's Run was a book, a movie, and a TV series. I remember the movie, and I remember it was also a TV series. I didn't know about the book. I was a kid. The only thing I read when I was a kid is dinosaur books, monster books, and comic books. I didn't get into the novels and all the serious reading until later, or science fiction. Probably in junior high is when I really started that. Reading the movie adaptations of Ridley Scott's Aliens, and George Lucas's Star Wars. Alan Dean Foster, speaking of those two, wrote both of those novels. Even though it says George Lucas on the credits, he was a ghostwriter for that. Jason Bates says, Logan's Run with Michael York was great. Farrah Fawcett had a cameo. Did she? That's interesting. Tom says, let's not forget 2001, A Space Odyssey. That's true. Those are classics. Those were classics. Yeah, they definitely were classics. But I don't know. There was something about that look that Star Wars gave. When you were in that theater, man, there was just something about it that, like I said, as a kid, I could not process what I was seeing. It was so real to me. I just couldn't figure out what I was seeing. Like how are they doing this? It was amazing. Were you old enough at that time to have seen 2001? Well, I Tom, people in my age bracket. I mean, even I don't remember what year that movie came out. I didn't see that at the theater, so I don't know what the effect was, but I know it didn't, like nothing at that time got the attention like Star Wars did, Not saying the others weren't good, but Star Wars blew everything away at that time. Amanda says, good evening. Good evening, Amanda. If I hadn't already said that. I know I read it. I don't know if I said it out loud yet. Two, John says 2001. The film was better than the actual year. Yes, in many ways. Um, let's see. Jason says Manhunter with William Peterson as Graham and Brian Cox as Lecter. Michael Mann directed. Huh. I don't know if I saw that one. John Wayne says, since you mentioned comics, what do you think is the best comic book movie adaptation? In my head, I'm bouncing back and forth between two movies. Uh, I guess I should just go with the first Spider-Man movie because I felt like that with Tobey Maguire in what 90. No, it was the early 2000s, right? Am I right on that? I didn't. I was not impressed with the Green Goblin. I wish that they would have went with the original concept. If you go online, you can find out that the original mask idea and stuff. It looked so cool because it looked more like the comic book Green Goblin. But I'll say because I think that one was the first one was because I didn't have anything else yet. The other one I was thinking was Tim Burton's Batman, not because I thought it was and then I thought about the wording of your question. It was like, okay, that's not really what I was expecting for the movie, but I did enjoy it. When I first saw it, I wasn't sure what to expect. But I'm gonna go with Spider-Man, the first one. But it says, yes, Brian, I know that's very surprising considering always saying dumb, racy, and downright stupid comments, but I try to be nice to people at times. Sometimes, he says. Well, that's good. Sometimes. Jason says the author of 2001 wrote it at the same time the movie was made. He then authored 2010, well before the movie was made. Cool. All right. He also wrote 2050 and 3001. Interesting. Jason says Watchmen was a good adaptation, and the Dark Knight Return animated movie are my two favorite adaptations. I'll see now. The Watchmen, I didn't read the graphic novel. Moore, what was his first name? Alan Moore. Was it Alan Moore who wrote the Watchmen? Or V for Vendetta. Had I wasn't familiar with those comics before I saw the movie. Same as The Walking Dead. I hadn't read the comic book before I saw the. Still haven't read the comic books. I have the first issue of The Walking Dead. It was a reprint, not the original, but I had never read the comics before I watched the series. John Wayne says, I haven't seen the Spider-Man yet. I have to watch it sometime. Oh, the first one is pretty good. I actually enjoyed Tobey Maguire's portrayal of Peter Parker. I just thought that was so well done. Tom says, Watchmen was really good, Jason. I did like that movie. I really enjoyed The Watchmen. I thought that was very well done. But I was not familiar with the comic before that. I'm trying to think of, there was, The Boys? Was that a comic? Was The Boys a comic? The one the show that's on Amazon Prime? I think it was. Again, I've seen some of the episodes of The Boys. That superhero, it was a superhero, kind of a gritty, very gritty and gory superhero series, but very violent. But I hadn't seen the comic, so I can't compare the two. Patty says, please stay safe all. Yes, you too, Patty, thank you. Bonin says, what's that new movie, The League of Ungentlemanly something? Anybody else know what I'm talking about? I know what you're talking about, but that's all I know is I know a title and I know is it Henry Cavill that's in it? Cavill, the guy who played the newest Superman in the Man of Steel movies. I think if I'm thinking of the right one. Stephanie says, I've seen the first Spider-Man movies in theaters. Yep, that's where I did. I saw the first 3 of them. I actually saw all the Marvel movies up until the Black Panther. I saw all of them in the movie theaters, and then when after COVID came and went, you know, I kind of the stories, you know, the quality of the, you know, Thor just became the zany, wacky adventures of Thor, that kooky guy, and then you know, it became a comedy, and then which I grew up reading Norse mythology and the Thor comic book, so I that wasn't something that interested me at that point, and it just got a little too silly for my taste. I don't mind a little bit of humor in the movies, but make that the exception, not the rule. Don't switch that around. There were shorts that were on YouTube. It's almost wrapping up the hour, but where Thor goes and he is roommating with Daryl. You know, and these were little comedic shorts that were out. You can find them on like Disney Plus. They have them, or on YouTube, and they're funny because you're seeing Thor in a you know, an amusing situation, okay, comedic situation. That's not how the movies were supposed to. The entire movies were supposed to be. But that's what they did. They turned it into a comedy, and at that point, I just like you guys aren't even trying now. I mean, it's funny. It'd be funny if it were supposed to be. Jason says, yes, and yet another fast-paced, excellent show and highlight of the week for me as usual. Thank you very, very much for devoting an hour to spend with us, Brian. Thank you, Jason. Thanks, I appreciate that. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Now, I did see that one, Patty. I do remember seeing that one. One with Sean Connery. Any good horror comic films adaptations? Anybody? That might be a topic that we can throw in there for next week as well. Ghostface versus Michael Myers. See y'all next week. Tom says. Stephanie says I saw a Ghostface versus Michael Myers. Bonus says, oh shoot, we're out of time this week. Well, yins, have a great, wonderful, happy, safe weekend. I'll see yins all next time, same channel. All right. And again, I want to once again, before closing up the show on this night, on this day, wish my baby a very, very happy birthday. Happy birthday, Ava, and thank you, everybody, for joining me and each other for another Chiller Night Live. Have a good night. Have a good Chiller Night. We'll see you next week.